Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk to you about ESG investing today. ESG investing, it's companies which are more suitable, or that's what people feel that it should not have any, it should have a good governance. Let's start with say governance, E, S, and G, where E and S is of course environment and social, and it should also have good governance. So environment, if you would start with, people might object to investing in companies like Coal India or NTPC, saying they use a lot of fossil fuels, and that's not good for the environment. Maybe, but when people see the cash flows in NTPC and Coal India, they might change your mind, right? So, okay, you've decided not to invest in that. You've decided not to invest in Tata Power because that also uses a lot of fossil fuel. What happens if Tata Power tomorrow starts using a lot of gas and energy from wind and solar? Then what happens? Do you change your mind? At what stage do you change your mind? At when they reach 50%, when they reach 80%, when they reach 100%, and they may never reach those levels, right? Now, these are the companies, energy companies, which are the ones which are going to spend a lot of time in searching for newer forms of energy, because they are under tremendous pressure from their international investors. So they also know that they have to look for change in fuel. So they're looking for it already. You will not invest in a company which is making, say, tobacco. So ITC is out. But if ITC suddenly say 8% of the index, will you reconstruct the index, or will you say, oh, I will still not invest? Let's take, for example, if you will say, I will not invest in Reliance because it is into oil and oil is bad for the environment. Then the question is, but if 15% of the Sensex is Reliance, can you really afford to ignore Reliance? And today, if Reliance is getting the market cap because of its IT initiatives, will you then buy it and say, oh, the market cap is not because of oil, the market cap is because of IT and the future prospects of retail? So will you buy it? I really don't know. Personally, I don't invest in a company which is causing harm to its shareholders, which means I don't invest in ITC. Personal decision which I took about 5 years back. I had a lot of ITCs, sold off everything and said, I don't want to be causing cancer. A lot of friends, relatives, you saw them suffering. He said, if smoking is causing cancer, I will not invest in that. Now that's a personal choice that I make, and I have to accept that because of that I will get lesser returns. But when you're investing in a fund, you don't want a fund to churn a lot. You don't want a fund to search a lot, because you do not know whether the manager is capable of doing that. That is exactly the argument for passive investing. Now, can you create a passive ESG fund in India and say, I will stick to it? People will try, but my view on ESG is very different. For example, when you're talking of S and the impact on society, should you buy the shares of a listed broker who causes tremendous amount of losses for senior citizens without telling them what they are doing? They do F&O for clients who have no clue to understand what it means. They say, no sir, this is just like a fixed deposit. You can buy and you will get better returns, and they actually make some money doing the first few transactions, and then they end up losing 40-50 lakhs. Out of a 5 crore portfolio. No, that's not small, right? 10% of your money gone because you did things which you didn't understand. Of course, it is the investor's fault or the trader's fault that he didn't understand what he was doing. But these tools are being marketed. You are hiring people who go around selling this. Is this ethical? Is this moral? Is this within ESG? I really don't know. I will not want to go for a method which is increasing transaction cost, because they will say, oh, I have to dump this, I have to buy this. Second, it is your own moral call. It is not somebody else's moral call that you have to take. Because what happens if you are in a company which is perfect with everything, but then suddenly gets into a Me Too situation, where the CEO gets into Me Too or the head of marketing gets into Me Too? Which means the processes in the company are not really ESG compliant, right? So personally, I am against bringing any kind of a bias. Like I have friends who are Jains who will not buy shares which is into say shrimp farming or fishing or things like that, or maybe meat. But they will not mind too much holding shares of say an Indian hotels or an East India hotels. Maybe they don't know, but obviously when you run a hotel, you need to cook veg, you need to cook non-veg, and even if I hold shares of East India Hotel and Indian Hotel, I'm also in denial, saying that it's okay for me to be holding that because they're not doing anything else. But remember, they do serve cigarettes. So should I say, oh, they serve cigarettes, so I will not invest? No, I'm not even saying that. So each person has to draw his own level of what he thinks is ESG, what works, what doesn't work, and then rather than create a portfolio. In India, if somebody is trying to create a portfolio with ESG today, honestly, I want to know how you create that. I want to see it because I can't see too many companies which are perfect on ESG and doing well in the market to give me good returns. To me, the good returns is far more important than just pure ESG. ESG is going to increase cost because of transaction. It is no longer a passive fund. So yes, ESG should be there. It is important. People have to look at environment, society, and look at governance. Perfectly in line with that, but I think it's an individual choice. I doubt whether ESG funds can outperform the regular funds. And even if they do, what about transaction costs? Those are the questions. Thank you.